The Dallas Mavericks have entered the mother fluffing chat. So preceding yesterday's game between the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Thunder had only lost 4 games the whole season by 10 or more points. And the Dallas Mavericks make a few trades come in on Saturday, and it's a 35-point dub. So this Oklahoma City Thunder team has been known for their great scoring, their solid defense, and pretty much everything you can do on both ends of the court. The Thunder are going to be able to do it well outside of having great size. And the Mavericks made it a point at this last trade deadline to add a bunch of size. And the Dallas Mavericks were able to keep them at 111 points yesterday, when the Thunder averaged 121 points per game. The Mavericks started the game with a modest 47 points in the first quarter, and how they scored their points in the first quarter might shock you. Yes, the Mavericks only took 7 threes the entire first quarter and still had 47 points. Now, the Thunder didn't just sit back and easily let the Mavericks just drop 147 points on them. The Thunder throughout the second and third quarter were able to keep pushing the lead back, and the Mavericks were making us a little bit uncomfortable. But once it hit halfway through the third quarter, the game was pretty much completely over. Luka really didn't have to do a whole lot, and me saying that, I'm not entirely sure when the last time Luka Doncic only played 31 minutes in a win was, but in this game, Luka was able to drop 32, 9, and 8 in just 31 minutes. For this team to be able to blow out the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's the second seed in the West, one of the best teams in the league, completely has made this season their breakout season, has blown everyone away, been incredible. The Mavericks were able to win by 35 points with Luka only playing 31 minutes and still being able to drop 32, 9, and 8. This is huge for a number of reasons, but mainly Luka has had to play over 38 to 40 minutes on a regular basis. Since about the first 15 games of the season, Luka Doncic has regularly had to put the team on his back and play well over 38 minutes a game. Luka has been one of the highest usage players in the league, and he has been since his sophomore season. But this is just amazing to see. 31 minutes of action, almost dropping a triple-double still. Kyrie only 33 minutes, which is still a decent amount of minutes, but he's not overexerting himself. He still had 25, 8, and 6. Beautiful game from Kyrie. Beautiful game for Maxi Kleber, 12 and 12. A double-double from him is not something I think I've ever seen. Thankful for the contributions from PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. I've made a couple videos on these guys. I made a video before the trade went down talking about how I would love these guys on the team, how much versatility they will add on both ends of the floor. And a couple days ago, right after the trade, I posted another video just talking about what this trade really can mean for the Dallas Mavericks, because they've just lacked so much in size. The defensive end has been very hard for the Mavericks to get any stops at all on any decent offensive team. And you might think, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, how many minutes did they get in their debut with the Dallas Mavericks? Well, Daniel Gafford got a measly 17 minutes, and PJ Washington got a modest 24 minutes. But let's take a look at what they did in their little bit of time in their debut game for the Dallas Mavericks. PJ Washington puts up 14 and 5 on 60% from the field in 24 minutes. So ideally, the Mavericks are going to want PJ Washington on the floor for at least 30 minutes a night. He's definitely the most versatile wing that the Mavericks have now. He's definitely placed himself in the starting lineup. I'm fairly certain PJ Washington will be starting, and if he's not, then please get Jason Kidd out of here. But for sure, PJ Washington will be starting and will probably be receiving starters minutes. So you could see even more scoring output from him throughout the rest of the season, and it's just beautiful. Daniel Gafford in 17 minutes has 19 and 9 in a block, and it didn't even seem like he was only on the floor for 17 minutes. Like every big play, every action, I swear Daniel Gafford was part of it. So I don't know how he only played 17 minutes because it seemed like he was doing everything on the floor. 64% from the field. Beautiful showing of how well Daniel Gafford can just step in, fit like a glove, how well PJ Washington plays exactly how we were expecting him to for the Mavericks. You know, I put a huge emphasis on PJ Washington's ability to attack closeouts, and last night I saw it happen like 4 or 5 times in his only limited 24 minutes. And only 24 minutes in the game yesterday on Saturday, PJ Washington had beautiful drives to the basket off of closeouts. He was passing the ball really well, and he only took shots in the flow of the offense, and that's not something we're used to seeing from a starting wing. We usually see Tim Hardaway Jr., who, if he doesn't get the open shot, he will make himself slightly open just enough to get the shot off, but it's still a terrible shot nonetheless. We see Grant Williams, who, for some reason, Grant Williams did have a beautiful pump fake. Everyone bid on it every time, but he wasn't going to score off of it. You know, like Grant Williams, wide open in the corner, pump fake, and he goes to the basket. He got a lot of turnovers. He missed a lot of mid-ranges that way. PJ Washington can hit those shots. PJ Washington, he hit a 3. He was only 1 for 4, so obviously the shooting wasn't. It's just one game, okay? Shooting will come around, I'm sure of it. But PJ Washington, when he catches the ball and he pump fakes, anytime in this game where someone kicked it over to the corner or to the wing, if PJ didn't have the shot and was able to get it off, PJ would pump fake, and everyone was closing out so hard because they're having to come off of double teaming or all the actions over here, and then they swing the ball over to PJ. He pump fakes, he goes at the basket, and he had a couple of nice floaters, a couple of nice finishes. He had one where he attacked a closeout. He passed it out to Derrick Jones Jr., who was on the wing, and Derrick Jones pump faked. For some reason, Cason Wallace bid on a Derrick Jones Jr. pump fake, but he ran cuts from the right wing, and PJ, who had multiple displays of his basketball IQ in this game, but PJ, off of the drive, started to seal Chet, and so Chet was on the baseline, completely useless on defense. And DJJ, when he drives off the pump fake, he passes it back to PJ Washington, and PJ's wide open under the basket for 2 very easy points. And can we talk about how the Dallas Mavericks are the new Lob City? Like, the Dallas Mavericks are legitimately the new Lob City. We have so many options and so many guys who can pass the ball. Last night, even Maxi Kleba threw a lob to Josh Green. Like, the whole team is going to be catching lobs. Luka's next. I promise in the next 5 games, Luka is going to be the one catching a lob. But seriously, like, Daniel Gafford he either had 2 or 3 lobs. I can't remember if one of his finishes was off of a lob or if it was off a pass. But yeah, Gafford was throwing down lobs. PJ and Gafford, both PJ and Gafford's first points of the game were off of lobs from Luka, which is amazing to see. Just super fun basketball to watch, and I really cannot wait to see these 2 guys with, not to mention, the Mavericks still had 2 key players injured out of this game, Derek Lively and Dante Exum. Dante Exum's for sure going to be the main backup point guard for the squad, because really outside of Kyrie, Luka, and Exum, all of the other playmaking on this team is very either secondary or probably tertiary style of playmaking. But man, what a deep roster. I just can't recall ever watching a Mavericks game and us sending in a bench lineup and being really happy about what I'm watching. Like, we're watching multiple different groups of guys go out on the court, and it's like every single group still had cohesiveness. There was still playmaking, there was still defense, there was still rebounding. There's multiple groups that the Dallas Mavericks can put on the court now and still be productive. It's time to see the Mavericks back on top of the West, and I think maybe not this season. Here's my prediction for the next however many games are left of the season. So the Dallas Mavericks, I don't know exactly how they calculate this. I'm guessing it's just based on collective win percentage for the rest of the teams that you're playing on your schedule for the rest of the season. But the Dallas Mavericks have the 5th easiest schedule for the second half of the season post All-Star break part of the season out of all of the teams in the NBA. So not only are the Mavericks currently on a 4-game win streak where 3 of the teams they played should have been wins, but yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder, huge win. Mavericks on 4-game win streak, and up next is Washington Wizards and the San Antonio Spurs, which are 2 of the 3 worst teams in the entire league. I'm fairly certain that the Dallas Mavericks are going to go at least win these next 2 games. Not so sure what happens after that, but I could see a sizable run for the Mavs. Maybe a couple losses in there, but a decent amount of wins for the next second half of the season. Could the Mavericks mess around and end up as the 5 seed? I don't see why not. With what I saw last night, I know it might seem like an overreaction just from one game, but sitting down and watching the game, seeing how many different options the Mavs have to go to on offense and defense, seeing how cohesive of a unit this team can be and actually get every single shot off in the flow of the offense. You have 2 guys in Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving who can score at will, get a bucket for themselves or a teammate at any moment throughout the entire course of a game. And now you have multiple connectors on offense, multiple connectors on defense, in a group that can actually play as a whole. And it's not just watching Luka and Kyrie and hoping that the role players hit their shots. This is a team. This is a legitimate team. And going forward, I could see this team being considered somewhat of a contender by the end of the regular season and going into the playoffs. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing what the Mavericks can do for the rest of the season. Definitely tear it up in the playoffs. Luka and Kyrie are just 2 guys that you get them to the playoffs. It doesn't matter a whole lot what the rest of the team situation is looking like. If those guys are on one for the night, it could just be over for your team. And now that there's legitimate rebounding, legitimate defense on this team, I could see the Mavericks doing a lot of things that are going to surprise a lot of people. And if you're a Thunder fan watching this, I'm sorry, but the Mavericks are here now. Your shine, your time, it was really nice, but it's going to be short-lived. It's the Dallas Mavericks are here to stay.